Hello and good morning, everyone. I'm Gaurav Pant. I'll be the person who will be discussing about this particular topic. I want a website. Many of you have joined my earlier sessions also. Thank you for that. And thank you for coming back for this session. So I'll just introduce myself quickly. I'm Gaurav Pant. I'm a freelance web developer and I have been into web development for almost 20 years and I have been doing some hosting and some projects. I work freelance and today again my co-host is Geeta who will be taking the questions and other things which you can post it in the chat box. And if you have any doubts or queries, you are welcome to come on audio, video and ask the queries. So today's topic, I want a website. I have decided to discuss about this because being into this field for almost 20 plus years now, I have seen a lot of changes that has taken place over a period of time. And today, everything is going digital, online. Everything is online. So why would you want a website? Or many people have this question that what is a website and how we can have this website. Many of us are like seeing the website, visiting different websites and other places, and sometimes this question arises in our mind like, if I wanted a website, what would it need, and can I launch it myself, or what are the costs going to be? So this session is basically not going to be a very technical session, but of course certain points which are associated with development of websites or concept of website, I'll be taking up those aspects into this. So by the end of this session, most probably you will be in a position to decide that whether you want a website or not, or probably you would be going ahead deciding to set up your own website either by yourself professionally or by someone else's help. So it would be your decision. So let's get started with our discussion further. So today I'm using this presentation to keep a track of the points which I want to discuss. There is not much of demonstration over here, but moreover discussion about these things. Any discussions or demonstrations that will be there, I'll try to show you. So today's agenda is we are going to discuss about what is a website. Most of you have visited website, you have heard about the terms website and other things. So, and we're going to demystify the core components and the cost associated with the development of websites. What is the concept of a control panel? A very important aspect is there when you are going to go for a website. First time users get into certain traps when they are uh, buying their domain names and other things. Then we will discuss about how you can actually build your website. And then finally, we will discuss about the first steps that you can take, which will be your actionable steps. And finally, we will have the Q&A session and we'll then wrap up the session. Today's session is going to be around 1.5 hours. So feel free to put in your queries or questions as and when you like. Okay, so let's get ahead with this. So why would you need a website? Fine. This is the big question. Now, today we are in a digital world. Everything is connected digitally. Most probably this kind of discussion you might would have been having in a, uh physical conference or something, or a college seminar, or someone is giving a professional webinar seminar somewhere in a physical place. These kind of things used to happen. Now, if you notice today, we are having this discussion digitally. Fine. So things have moved from actual real life to a digital world, which has its pros and cons, and that's a big topic to discuss. But yes, everything which has pros and cons, let us focus on the pros. So today, uh, the knowledge which I have gained over a period of time, I wanted to share with you. And we are using this digital platform. Fine. And most probably many of you have joined via the Google Meet website itself. Fine. So from the web based platform. So internet and the web, this has become a critical thing in our life. Fine, everything we are doing online, and because of that reason, we prefer to find out information on the web. So a website, basically, if you have, for whatever reasons we'll be discussing, gives you a 24 by 7 presence. It becomes your digital hub from where people can access your information or your products or whatever your website is supposed to do. It provides you that particular functionality. Now, the digital presence point can be done by many different ways. One is you are digitally present from social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. These kind of digital presences are there. But and a lot of famous people are there. People are famous because of their, about influencers and other kind of people are there. But there is a issue with this digital presence, which is the next point, which talks about the credibility and professionalism. Credibility is a very important aspect. Now, if you look at the slide, I have put 2 points. There are two email IDs. One says Gaurav at opensourcecook.in. Opensourcecook.in is my website, and Gaurav at gmail.com. Though the next one is not actually my email ID, but that is on Gmail. Now, the point is, when you receive a communication from me via the first email ID, it gives a credibility. Yes, this person is having an actual setup location somewhere and a registered website is there. Versus when you receive a mail from Gmail, Yahoo, or any other service provider, it does not provide the credibility. Fine. It generates a authenticity. So, like if you are working in an office, whenever you are communicating with someone, all people in the office, they're provided those official email IDs where the domain part is the office part. Fine, that generates a credibility. So this is one of the simplest examples. When you will be communicating for your business needs or professional needs with anyone, sending a email itself, a small simple thing, sending a email from your domain, or when a person receives an email and it says that it is from Gaurav at opensourcecook.in, or whatever is your email ID, versus a Gmail ID, makes a huge difference. Fine. This is a small thing, but it has a very big impact. So similarly, getting web presence on social media is one aspect. Fine. But having your own website with email functionality is another aspect. I will give you one more example. You might have seen websites where you can sell your products or provide your information. There are many websites, Trade India or something like that, for business purpose. B2B, business to business websites are there, where when you are searching for some information, you might have come across these websites. Or I think something like Just Dial is there. Fine. These kind of websites, you can have a web page over there, fine, about your business and all. But again, you are not providing a credible location if you don't have a website. Fine. These kind of sites help you promote your business, but until unless you have your individual presence, it does not provides professionalism and credibility. This is very important aspect of that. Fine. So that is why the second and very important reason is to have the credibility created, and for that you will need a website. It could be a single page website. Fine. It does not needs to be 100 pages or a lot of things, but just having a single page or 4 or 5 basic pages are more than enough to show your web presence. That gives me a feel, yes, you really exist somewhere and it's not just someone running around here and there. Okay. It You can compare it with something like people having a proper shop in some place. That becomes more credible than a person selling door to door. Fine. Like if you're looking for warranty guarantee, then and someone comes and sells you a product at your doorsteps. Fine. And he says, this is my company and all, and I do this, that, and but if the person does not have a registered shop or location, then the credibility reduces. Fine. It's not that they are not going to give you good services on that, but getting engaged with customer or audience you need to have your website. Second thing is, when it comes to the content and control, you get the full control of your website. Fine, you are the owner of the website and you are in fully control of the contents of your website. See, whenever you use social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or any of these things for promoting yourself, when you place contents over there, there is a huge risk of who is the owner of that content. Let us say you are a person who is into photography and all, you are putting photos and other things. Then what happens in that particular case is that there is a possibility that anything that you paste on Facebook, Facebook might use that for any purpose. Fine, you have to go through the terms and conditions. I'm just giving it as an example. But when it is on your website, without even specifying, you are the owner of that particular content. Fine, so there are a lot of concepts like copyrights and other kind of things. That control is required when you have intellectual property. You are writing some content, developing some content, photography and other kind of your products and all. So these images, content, this also is very important aspect to understand, to have the control over your website. Fine. Then again, once you have a website, you have a wider reach. It's a single point of contact. Fine, where you can showcase your portfolio, services, testimonials and other things. So again, it takes us to the same point, that when you have a proper website, it gives us much better picture and faith into the person who is showcasing that product compared to a social media. Fine. We know that today a lot of fraud, scams and other things are going on. So having a website gives us credibility. It's not that scams and other things are not happening from websites. It's a fact, it happens. But still, I would have more faith on a person who is showcasing things from their website as such. Or until unless the service is provided by some big name like Amazon, Flipkart and all, then that's a different aspect. But still, even if you're selling your products from them, having your own website is quite important. Okay, so these are the aspects why you need a website. Now, not necessarily it is only for product based things or anything. For any work that you're doing, it could be a NGO work or some other kind of work you are doing, freelance work you are doing, you are providing some services, everything. Once you have a website, it becomes more and more credible. Okay, so there are a few reasons why you need some websites. Now let's come to the point, to the technical aspect. What exactly is a website? Right. So in simple terms, it's your digital home base, which will have the collection of pages. Fine. Of course, we cannot sell physical products on that. So basically, whatever we have as a digital content, that is going to be placed on your website. Fine. This is going to be your online presence, which is accessible anywhere and everywhere where a person has an internet connection, mobile or whatever. And that contains everything that you want to share. As I mentioned, the digital content that you would want to share. Now, what would be the purpose of your website is either you want to inform, you want to sell some product, showcase your work and many other aspects, and primarily to gain, again, the same point, the credibility. Now, before we go ahead into this, so when we talk about this term website, what exactly it means? I will give you a comparison with respect to a real life thing. A website consists of multiple aspects, technical aspects. Fine. One is your domain name, which I will be discussing. So some www something something that you have registered. Like I have Open Source Cook and few other domains I have registered on my name, and I'm running some work over there. Fine. So one is your domain name. So domain name is a kind of brand name for you, like a business name for you. Fine. When you are running a business, you register a business. Fine. So that is a business name. So when you register a domain name, you get your business name. Now, the second thing is you need some workspace from where your business will be running. Okay. So in a real world, like if you are into products, you are selling some product, you may take up a shop somewhere. If you are providing some services or something, you might take up some office space. So you can buy or rent, whatever is the process, you take up some office space somewhere. Now what you do is, so let's say you took a office space in some mall, XYZ mall, or there are office areas and other places. You take up some office space and say, this is the XYZ location, and this is where my office is. So now the next thing that you have to do is the domain name or your office name in real life, fine, you associate it with this physical address over there where your office is going to be. Fine. So now this space, this physical space, is where your office will be set up or your shop will be set up with the products and all. And the office or business which you have registered will be connected, or in the real life you will tell everyone where my office is. Okay. In terms of website, domain name is like your uh, address through which a person can reach this space. So this space is called as a web space. We need to buy some web space where we are going to actually place our website. Fine. So in real life, you take up an office space, you register your office, you take up some office space, you connect this, and this is what we have to do in terms of a website. Take a domain name, take some web space, and connect these two together. So when someone comes to your domain name or follows your address, they will reach this particular office location. Now there will be the third part in our website, which is to showcase and display our office or shop. Fine. If it is a shop, you will showcase it in a different manner. So you will say when you will be opening your office or something like that, or your shop. So if someone visits it earlier, they might not get to see anything. It could be a blank space or under construction. These kind of messages you can get. Or usually in real life, they place these banners saying coming up soon and something like that. Fine. So it is almost similar in the digital world. I buy a domain name, I buy a web space, and then I have to build the website over there. Now, how do we build the website? It can be done programmatically, and there are different other ways, which we will be discussing further. So once you have built the website in the web space, so someone visits your website, they get to see the contents, how you want to display it to that. Fine. So this is the concept of a website. So website means the actual location where your contents are present. Though since in terms of internet, we physically don't have to go anywhere. The content is served back to our machine. So we are not going there. In a real life, you actually physically go over there to the physical site. So we also have this physical site over there, but we don't get that realization that we are actually sending a request all the way to that physical server and receiving the content back from that server. But the concepts are similar. Fine. So this is the idea behind a website, and we have to set up the content on our server which is associated with our domain name and make it presentable to this. So that becomes your website, the site on the web, that is your website. Okay. And just like in real life, sometimes we move our office from one place to another. Sometimes we also move our server from one place to another. Fine. So we move our, we don't move the server, actually we shift from one server to another server, and at that time we simply tell that we point our domain from one server to another server, saying that now our website is going to be running from this location, exactly like how you do in real life business. Fine. Once your business is shifted, so you tell everyone that we have relocated and something like that. Okay. So that is the concept of a website. So you don't need to deal with these things directly all the time, but it's a good to have this particular understanding that these two things or three things are three different aspects: the domain name, the web server space, and the actual web contents that are going to be there in your web server space. Okay, so now let's come to the concept of your domain name. So what is a domain name? That is your digital address. Fine. In computer worlds, most of you might have heard of that IP address is 192.168.0.1, or every one of us are using routers and Wi-Fi in our home. So all of you might have heard of this. So actually computers all over the world, they are associated with this IP address. So the server which I'll be having an IP address. But person, if you tell a person that this is my address on this IP address, it's very difficult to remember. But most probably telling you that my website is opensourcecook.in is much more easier for you to remember. So this is your digital address through which a person can easily access your website. Fine. So it could be any kind of name that you want. There are some rules and regulations, but you have to have your digital address. This is called as your domain names, domain name. Fine. Now, why is it important? As I mentioned, it makes it easier for a person to get to your website. Like if you want to go to google.com, it's easier to say google.com rather than going to some 8.2.1.34, whatever is the IP address for that. And some newer technologies are coming up where what we call as Internet Protocol version 6, where the IP addresses are going to be completely huge and big, and it is like not possible for us to remember those things. So basically, domain name makes it easier to get connected to one of these digital locations where you are hosting your service. So that is the importance. Now, how do you choose one for yourself? Now, a domain name consists of two parts. Fine. One is the actual domain name of your this thing, and then there is the extension that is your .com, net, or EU, info, Asia, and now there is a very huge list of these things. Like you can have a .coffee. I have one of the domains called as cafe, CAFE, cafe. So that's swadhyaya.cafe, where I'm coming up with a project of uh, e-courses and other things. Fine. So most of these domains, their extensions also specify that what is your business. Fine. Like if you are providing some information, like there are many websites I have seen where there is information about different companies and different colleges and other things. Like when students are trying to join to some college, they want to find out what a good college is. So there are some websites who are providing this information. So like a domain name college information.info or college.info. Fine. So the .info part immediately tells that this is a website which is providing me some information. Fine. Like .biz discusses about, says automatically about business. Then there are country level like US.in and other things. Then there are multiple of this like .co.in, .org.in. Fine. So the most common ones like for us is com. Com is usually for commercial purpose, but for a common man, having a .com is the best thing. Fine. So what is your website? Or many people initially used to say like, what is your .com? So like uh, someone would say xyz.com or something like that. So .com is, instead of commercial, now it's like people consider it as a common name for your website. So if you can get .com, very interesting. But today the top level or this domain extensions, let me just use that term, domain extensions specify what kind of your website is, and the country level type things can be done. You can have a look at it, but very specific ones could be very costly. Fine. So something like .asia, .coffee, .biz, and many other are there. So some of them are quite costly and some of them are cheap. Now com, net, or in these ones, if you want something .net, .org, .com, these ones would cost you from 400-500 rupees to 1300-1400 rupees yearly. You register it per year. Fine. So you can register them yearly and have it in your name. So first thing is to get your domain name registered. Fine. Then we can think about this. Now, how do you get a domain name like this? So there are a lot of people who are providing these services. Fine. You search on the net that I want to register a domain name, and you can get it registered from them. One of my friends also does it for this thing. I think uh, Sudanwa is there online. He also does the domain registrations and all. So there are people who can provide you domain registration facility. Very important aspect is to have a person who is reliable to get the domain registered. Fine. So just remind me why this is important after I have discussed few other aspects of the whole domain thing and other aspects. Fine. Okay. So this is the concept of domain name. Think of a very interesting, sensible name. As far as possible, keep it shorter, though no one types these days, but still, a shorter domain name is preferred over a big domain name. Fine. And if you plan to go in for a long term, it would be good, like you can capture the top level domain names, net or com. That is a good thing. Many companies do that. Fine. Of course, there are a lot of interesting rules and regulations of registering domain names, and some domain names, like for education purpose and military purpose, government purpose, these things you cannot register as an individual. Fine. If you would want any specific information about that, I think Sudanwa would be a very correct person to answer that particular aspect, that which domains are not allowed to an individual. Fine. So I think I will ask Sudanwa in the end to specify that, or if he is online, can he mention which domains are not allowed for individuals? Okay, we'll get to that point after our discussion is done. Okay. So this is the concept of domain name. Now, the next aspect is web server and hosting. So once you have registered a domain name, you have to have some space where you are going to put your content for your website. So where I'm going to put my contents is a web server. That's a technical term. And when we are hosting a website, fine, it is not just the web pages that you see. There are a lot of aspects that are required in the background, what we call as how to upload, download files. Some interface is required to manage our content. Then we need sometimes a database in the backend. Okay. So then we need email service. One of the interesting aspects is email service. So all these things have to be associated. Fine. So a web server technically is a service which just sends and receives the pages. But in the background, if you want to send an email, you need an email server running on it. You need a database server running on it, and multiple other things are required, like security aspects are there and other things. Fine. So a hosting primarily deals with a combined package of all these things. They give you some interface, they give you some web space, they give you the mailing facility, they give you the interfaces, easy to use interfaces to manage your website, how to upload, download content on your website from the background. Fine. So that is a hosting provider. Fine. Now, dependent upon your work, you have to decide that what kind of hostings. Fine. In simplified terms, there are two things. One thing is called as a shared hosting, and another is dedicated or VPS based hosting. Fine. Now, shared hosting is basically something like taking a working space for your office. In many places there are these office spaces provided, right? Many big buildings are there, and office locations are there. So you don't want to have a big office, or the company just needs uh, office space for 40, 10, 100 employees, like that. So rather than buying a whole building or something, you take some rent out the office space. So in one building itself or one floor itself, you might find hundreds of different offices running, or per section there are some offices. Fine. So the server over here is the building, and every floor on the server, or in every floor, there could be multiple offices. This office space is distributed to different people. You pay some amount, buy some office space, or take up some office space, and utilize that. Okay. So that is kind of shared hosting, where on one web server multiple websites are running and they are utilizing the same resources. Now this is what happens with this shared resources is this, that it becomes easier. fine, and easier and cheaper for someone to uh, host a website initially. But as your website requirements might grow, it might become bigger and other things. So as your website grows, you might want to have a dedicated space. Like many companies, they have their complete office, fine, their whole setup is the whole building area and everything is there. So in that case, you can have a dedicated server which is specifically for your purpose, fine. Now this is the secondary part. You can think about these things later on when your website grows very big or something like that, fine, and you have a huge company. At that time you can think about that, because then the whole control is with you. In this case, of course, the control is with someone else, where you are having a shared hosting, right? Just you can visualize it, that your office space or office building is being shared by multiple other offices, and having your own office space individually for yourself, and no one else is there, fine. So that is there. Now what is the cost of this? I will talk about a simple initial part of that. Hosting costs usually might cost you around, like, a domain name, if we say average is let's say 1,000 rupees per year. A hosting costs for around 1 GB of web space and other things might cost you around 3-4 thousand rupees a year. Roughly, on an average, around 5,000 rupees per year, you can easily host your website. Now this is very cheap. Like if you just miss out few pizza parties, you can host your website very easily. Now there are a lot of offers and other things available, unlimited space, unlimited database and all. If you need to understand that there is no such thing as unlimited thing. They have a lot of aspects over there, and I have gone through all those kind of things, like what they mean by unlimited, with a small asterisk over there, that this is unlimited but you will not host images, photos or something like that. And they put up some terms and conditions, and finally, like what I said, that on an average around 5,000 rupees per year will give you domain name and 1 GB of web space, fine. A lot of mix match can be done, but 1 GB of web space, where you can have your email ID, where you can have your website running and your domain name, this cost you around 5,000 rupees. Costs could be varying based on the places where you are getting the hosting, but don't get into the trap of like unlimited thing, right? Now where you can get it, you can get it from different service providers that are there. You can just search for hosting service providers. A lot of known names are there, and a lot of these known names are known to be very interesting type of service providers also. So you have to do a search research, that which are good, which are bad and all. Okay, so generally this is going to be a cost around this. Many people, sometimes they will provide you very cheap domain registration, like register a domain name for 1 rupees if you are registering it with us and all. And but that is usually for the first year, and from the second year onwards the costs change. But that's the rough idea. uh, for .comnet or type of domain, you get it for around 1,000 rupees. There are a lot of variations in domain names, very specific domain names like Asia and other kind of things that have come up. Might be quite costly, could go into like thousands of rupees, 20,000, 30,000 rupees per year. Those kind of costs could be there, fine. But generic domains which you would want would cost you around 1,000 rupees. Okay, so that's the concept of hosting, and you have to have a hosting provider rather than going for a web server or something. Generally, in generic terms, we say we want a hosting provider, so that we get the whole uh, package together for hosting our these things, websites, fine. Next, very important aspect, which generally people will not discuss with you, and this is what you need to understand. When you will go for getting a hosting, now a hosting service provider does one more thing. They register the domain name for you also. So now when you are going in for hosting service provider, they should provide you two things generally. Out of this, the second thing, or the domain control panel is not provided to you. So there are two things: control panels and interface with which you can manage your website. One is a web hosting control panel. Fine. It is like for people who are not into this, a very simplest thing is Google Drive you have used. So the Google Drive interface, you can upload your files, download your files, and use the services over there. So that is the control panel for the Google Drive. Okay. So a control panel similar to this is provided. Let me show you, which helps us manage our website. So when you take a hosting, you get to see a control panel like this. So when whatever will be your website, you will be given some information. And okay, just a second. Okay, so this is my this is a very famous utility called as cPanel control panel, which gives us an interface like this. Fine. So this is an interface with which I can manage my web space. Like I can manage the email accounts over there. So if you wanted to create an email, you simply click over here and you add an email. Fine. Set up the email, how much web space and other things are to be there. Fine. Then you wanted to create a database. Now people see, how do we create a database? So you simply say manage my databases and you can go ahead and uh, create a database. Fine. No requirement of understanding what is in the background or technicalities or other aspects. Then it provides you a file manager interface like this. See, a file manager interface is provided. Okay. So this file manager interface, which you can see over here, is giving you access. So this is your home demo. This is your home directory. This is an example of shared hosting. So demo is my home directory under which all the files and other aspects of my websites are there. So this is where I'll put my contents of the website. I can upload, download. So these interfaces are very, very simple interfaces. Actually, nowadays you really don't need to know the, like many people say you need to know Linux, Unix, and you need to know command line and other kind of things, but it's not really necessary. Fine. Nowadays a lot of things, security aspects and everything, can be done from this particular location. So this is a control panel which gives you access to that web space which you have taken, the hosting space which you have taken. Fine. So this is what you have to understand. Now there is another control panel which is called as a domain control panel. Now this is very important aspect to understand, that what is a domain control panel. I told you that you can register a domain name. It is your business name. So you can register 1, 2, 3, whatever n number of domain names you want without any kind of hosting. Fine. This is like registering your multiple businesses with yourself. You may want to run the business later on, but you want to register the business names with yourself. Fine. Now, when we register these business names, we have to have an interface which allows me to point my business name to this web hosting. Fine. Getting my point? When I have a domain name, it gives it domain name registration should provide you a domain control panel. Means you will log in over there and you will say my domain name open source cook points to XYZ hosting service provider. Tomorrow you end up in a fight with the service provider, or you don't like the service provider and you take another service provider, then you should be able to point your domain name to the other service provider. Fine. This is what we can do from the domain control panel. And that domain control panel access, what I have come to know throughout so many years, is that many people or hosting service providers who register the domain for you, they do not provide you the domain control panel access. So later on when you end up with a fight with them, or you don't like their services, you will not be able to point it to somewhere else. Or sometimes when you go in for these very cheap hosting, free hosting or something like these services, they will have probably that in their terms and conditions that you have to live with them only. So you have to be very careful while registering your domain. find it out with them that will they give you the domain control panel access or not. You have to have that access. So this is one of the major aspects, that you should have the access to the domain control panel. Second important aspect which I said is that when you are registering a domain, fine, you have to make sure that the domain gets registered in your name. Okay, I will give you a very simple example. When we register a domain, we have to provide the information, your name, email ID, address, and other aspects, and it gets registered in a central registry about who owns this particular domain. A lot of people are uh, giving you domain registration functionality, but it gets registered into a central registry, and there are some organizations who take care of this. But whenever a domain is registered, it has to be registered in your name. It should have your contact details, your email ID or something, so that later on if you have any problem, you can get a control of it much more easily. So many people, they don't register it in your name. I will give you a very interesting aspect. Fine. Let us say long time back when Facebook was launched and I was friends with Mark Zuckerberg, let us say. Fine. And Mark came up with this idea of Facebook, and he asks me to register by go and get some web hosting service registered. So what I do is, instead of registering it on his name, I register the domain name on my name, everything. And domain name becomes your business brand. So think of it that after 2-3 years, when Facebook became very popular, or maybe 10 years down the line when Facebook became very popular, at that point, when the renewal comes up, I tell Mark that I'm not going to give you access to this domain anymore because I own this, and you give me a lot of money. Then only I will transfer this domain to you or let you use this domain further. Okay, getting my point? So this kind of things can happen. You have to, because you cannot just change your brand name every now and then. Fine. So if you are planning for a long term this thing, or whatever is the purpose of your domain, make sure you set up a sensible domain and the domain name is registered with you. That is why it's very important to have a reliable person who is going to register a domain for you. Fine. What you can do is, how you can find out whether a particular domain is in your name or not. Let me show you. So let's see. Okay, so this is a website which is called as the Whoislookup. This is very important. Now here I can enter a domain name, and let's put my domain itself. OpenSourceCook.in, open SOU, opens SOURC, OpenSourceCook.in. Let's search for this, fine. Okay, so okay, oh, now what it says, select all the squares which has stairs. Select which has motorcycles. But this captcha thing is interesting. Let's take a while. Okay, it has agreed. Okay, let's go. So now you can see this information about this wherever it is registered, and of course Sudhanva has registered it for me, but you will notice somewhere that, where is it? Yeah, so my name is here. At least other things are not shown to you. It is retracted for privacy purpose. I can actually get to see it, but many of the things you can see. At least my name I can see over here, that it is registered over with my name. Fine. So you can get more information about this thing, and you have to make sure that it is registered in your name. So you could check up any website like this from the Whoislookup and check whether it is in your name or not. Fine. So this is quite important, that the domain is registered in your name, and you are the owner of that domain, and you have access to the domain control panel. Very important. Fine. Web hosting control panel, obviously you are going to get everyone is going to give you that web hosting control panel, but domain control panel, most of the people don't know about it. This is what you need to do. So this we saw the demo of the control panel already. So control panels are going to make your work very, very easy, right? So that's a very important aspect for any person to know, that why the domain name has to be in your name. Fine, hosting can be shifted, but your business name should be associated with you. That's going to become your brand name. Now, how do we build the website? We have a domain name, we have a web space. So what are we going to do? So now, if I would have been talking about this like 15 years ago, I would have accepted that it was a bit hard to build websites, but these days a lot of things have changed. Fine. Now there are a lot of ways that you can build your website. Now, one of the mechanisms for building websites is using existing platforms, which are like no code or low code platforms. Fine. So depending upon your requirement, you might have heard of Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, and lot of other service providers are there, which allow you to make your websites by drag and drop. So if you can use something like MS Office or computers, you are into drawing, painting, you can easily go to these websites, register this. So basically these website building platforms will become your hosting service provider. Your domain could be separate. They will give you the directions how to associate your domain with their service. Fine. So Wix, you can just select from certain designs, and with the interface you can create the pages and all, and you can simply create your website very fast. Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, and few others are there with which you can set up a e-commerce website very easily. Fine. So this is there. Then there is this, if you want to run a blog, fine, you want to create articles, posts, and other things, fine, then you could take up space from WordPress itself. WordPress.com is there, who provides a blogging platform. You can get these things. Now all these things will include a different cost, different kind of packages are there, and other aspects are there with which you can set up your website very, very easily. Domain cost plus the cost of this will be associated with this. You will have to see what other services they are providing, whether they are providing you proper backup or not, whether they are providing you email services and other aspects you can check. Fine. So you can set up your websites easily over here. These are the simplest way, but keep in mind that you are not fully in control of your content, because these people will be holding your content. They're providing you as a service. Ethically they should not do any kind of hanky panky, but still you are dependent on their services indirectly, what they are providing to you. Fine. And there are limitations with whatever they are providing. You have to work with that particular thing. The next aspect is that you can utilize a content management system. So what exactly is a content management system? It's a software package which you simply have to put up on your website, and it gets installed in few clicks. Fine. And then you can start building with that particular interface very easily. Fine. So like the websites which I'm running my websites on Drupal. Fine. So let me show you my website. Okay, before that I can show you this. WordPress.org is the website where you can download the WordPress based package and start your own this thing. And there is this WordPress.com where you can run your own website. Fine. A lot of people are using WordPress. This is a very famous tool which is used for web development. You can see the list of different companies that are using WordPress. Fine. And you can simply set up your websites, like they are giving with this start with these themes and all. You can select a particular theme and you can simply build a website. Fine. And you can look for some demos and other aspects which are there. Fine. A lot of other things they are providing, and you could simply set up your websites, right? WordPress hosting is there, WordPress for agencies and professional email and other aspects they are providing. So you could set up a professional website with these people. You could download WordPress and put it on your hosting itself. And finally, we have Drupal platform where you can download Drupal. Now, Drupal is not suggested for new people, but this is a very powerful content management system which gives us a lot of flexibility. So if you plan to go in for a very big complex website, then Drupal is the in thing. Otherwise, WordPress is fairly very good for a lot of purposes. Over a period of time, it has become very big. In fact, with WordPress itself, you can run an e-commerce website very easily. So if you are a bit hobbyist and you want to do things on your own, you can actually download WordPress and download certain other packages, and you can set up your own e-commerce website. And the most interesting aspect of WordPress package and Drupal package is that these packages are under the GNU GPL license. These are open source packages, so you don't have to pay anything for that. You can download and use these packages. Of course, the thing is that you get it as it is, whatever the services are provided. If you want some technical support services, you might have to pay for that. But the best aspect is this will be a legal package that you will be using on the net, and this will be completely free of cost and very, very powerful, these things. Okay, so I was supposed to show you my website. So this is my domain, opensourcecook.in, which is running on Drupal, where I keep on putting my blog items and all, and I'm already logged in. Fine. So uh, let us say I wanted to create another blog entries. I would simply go to content. Now you see I'm not going to write a single piece of code to add a page. Add content. I will say I need to write a blog entry. Okay, and here let's say a test blog post. I could add some image over here, and then fine, this is a test post, and let's just copy paste it. And you can see this editor. I don't need to know HTML or anything over here. Fine. If I wanted a heading or something, I could set it as bold, italics, headings, few other things. You can create a table if you want. Fine. Just create a table over here, put something in the table. So like in simple terms, if you know how to use something like MS Office, MS Word, LibreOffice or anything, you can simply create a page. You can set the tags over here and something like that, and simply say save. Okay, and this page is created. If I go to the home page, automatically the test block comes up over here. Of course, I've done some work on this, but I am using Drupal because I want a lot of extension over here. The same interface is available with WordPress, and for this purpose you can easily use WordPress, right? So I could conduct a different session where I could demonstrate to you how to set up WordPress and all. Though with today's interfaces, you might not even need to do this. Let's come back to this particular cPanel, and whoever is going to provide you these services, hosting services, and they're providing you cPanel, usually you will see there is a option of WordPress management. WordPress is so famous that they have integrated this WordPress management directly into that. So even without downloading WordPress or anything, you can set up WordPress over here without any kind of headaches. 1 or 2 clicks, your WordPress will be ready. And they also provide this kind of interface. Fine. App installer. Okay, this feature is disabled in the demo mode, but just like WordPress, there are hundreds of other applications which you can install. Fine. So one-click installation solutions are also available, where you can simply set up your website by 1 or 2 clicks. Fine. But let me say you will have to be a bit open to learning new things. Fine. If you can use a computer, I can guarantee that you will be able to manage your website on your own on a basic level and all. If you want to do it on a higher term and all, of course some learning will be required, but initial setup and management can be done by you with the help of content management systems, or if you're associating yourself with some website builder platforms and all, you can easily get it done in that particular mechanism. Okay, so that's how you can initialize your website over here. Then what are the main tasks once you have set up your website? First is content creation, and for your website to be famous and working, you have to create content, that is adding text, images, posts and other content. There should be a periodic update and information going into your website. Let's say you decided to have a website where you are going to post your recipes, fine. So it could be a WordPress, simple WordPress website, but then you have to be consistent with your post. And believe me, don't think about this concept ki people are already doing a lot of recipe thing and other things. It's not there. Post your content. You never know who would like your content than other person's content, but try to be a bit original over there. And if you can take your own images, videos and other things, that would be nice. Create content, fine. So content creation is one of the tasks which is the most important aspect of a website. The presentation part is already going to be taken care by your content management system. Second aspect is backup, fine. We are running on the servers are computers, they get crashed, they get hacked, and a lot of things happen. This is a reality, we cannot run away from that. So you need to have a backup mechanism. Let me just get back to that particular one, fine. So if you are doing a hosting somewhere, fine, if you're doing some hosting somewhere, they will usually provide you a backup interface. You just go to the backup part and you say download a full backup of my account or home directory or certain other things. You should take a backup. Usually your service provider, what they are going to do is, they the hosting provider, they themselves have their functionality of backups. They do backup, fine. So if the whole site fails, server fails, they will revert back to it. But again, that backup is with them, fine. The backup is with them. So you have to have a backup on your computer. Copy, download the backup in your computer. So if something goes wrong, you can revert back to them. The other aspect is the backup is required if you are shifting from one service provider to another service provider. You don't want to start the whole website again. So if the backup is there, it can be replicated on the other website. Mostly for the content management system aspect and all, it becomes quite easy. Fine. Then you should get into a bit of security concepts, use strong passwords. There are some plugins and extra functionality that you can use with WordPress, Drupal and all to make your things interesting. Like just when I was showing you this domain information, there was a captcha being presented, right? To find out human and other kind of things. So captcha has to be added, a certain honeypot mechanism and other some plugins are there which enhance the basic security of the website, fine. Other aspect is these packages keep on getting upgraded for security and all. So whenever there are updates and other versions, you should update to the newer versions as soon as possible. This is also not difficult. Most of these things provide you interface, and the upgrades will or either be automatic or they will be, you can do it very easily on your own, fine. And as your site is going to grow, you need to do some monitoring. So monitoring means who is coming to your website and other aspects. It can be helpful for security also, and to analyze that who is visiting your website, fine. So you can integrate it with Google Analytics or some paid service analytics people, fine, so that they can tell you what has to be updated, where things are going wrong and all. So Google Analytics is free service, you can use that. They have a paid part also. So you can integrate analytics with your website to analyze, fine, whether your audience is from your expected area or not, or how to do this. So this is what we cover in something called as web analytics and optimization of our websites and other aspects. So analytics is also important aspect that you can do. As your website grows, you have to associate these things into your website also. Okay, now coming to the next aspect, do it yourself or should you hire a professional? Now, when would you consider each? Now, if you are a beginner, you want to try out what exactly is a website and how it is done, you should go in for a DIY. Don't worry about it. You should go in for a DIY. Now, why you should go in for a DIY? It will give you a confidence and understanding of the concepts of domain, server, and other things. You might get into some service provider who is not good and all. You will come across some actual issues. You will learn about those things and other aspects, and most probably if some everything works out fine, good. But you will learn these aspects, that what is there, what is a website, what is my hosting space, what is this, you will learn over a period of time. That becomes a second step, that when you want to hire a professional, is that you want to focus on your work rather than focusing on the management of the website. That means, like, if you are a professional, like I took an example of, you are making recipes and other kind of things, so you have to be focusing in your content, thinking about development of recipe and all. So your primary access to the website should be just creating that page and uploading that content, and not the background management. Fine. Not to analyze the analytics and other aspects, how to make your website popular, taking the backup, security, safety, and other aspects, whatever we discussed till now. To focus on your primary work, fine, you can get into a professional. As your website grows, where you want a monetary transaction taking place, you want to reach out to a lot of people, sending out emails and other things, slowly as it grows, then you may want to hire a professional, or you may want to become a professional in itself. Why not take it up as a career, provide professional service for web development? So once you have started learning it, why not do it as a professional service? So initially, if you want to focus on your services, product, and other things, then you should take off your focus from managing that website and hire a professional, right? If it's a big company, you can have your own team, and or you can hire a lot of people who are providing these kind of services, so that you can focus on your own work. But DIY will give you a good insight on what are the things, and a lot of professionals out there are not professionals, so you can at least they cannot fool you on many of the aspects. Fine. So DIY will give you a good idea. Then when you hire a professional, you will be in a position to know many of the technical concepts or aspects at least, and you will not be fooled by everyone out there. Fine. So
We have one question from Neetu Gupta.
yeah.
Saying in a layman's language, what is the difference between creating a website and creating a YouTube channel?
Okay, I'll come to that. So creating a website, as I said, is your own location space from where you are providing the service. It's a unique domain name. So like when someone comes to opensourcecook.in, that is my website, and I can place anything on the website. Fine. I can host my content, I can display my product, I can have a shopping cart and everything over there. Now YouTube, on the other hand, is another website. Fine. Now YouTube is owned by Google. So YouTube, on the other hand, is a website which specializes in sharing videos. Fine. Now YouTube allows you to have a login, and you can upload your videos and share them. Now you can share the videos on your own website itself, but that is not very cost effective. So YouTube, what it is doing is, it's providing a service where a lot of people are coming and putting the content over there. So YouTube is indirectly making money out of your content. Fine. A lot of people are making money from YouTube, but YouTube is making more money by not generating any content from there. So YouTube is a kind of service where a lot of people are uploading their content. They're happy with the free access to a lot of space where they can put their videos and all. And your channel is one of the sections in YouTube. So that is a YouTube channel. You don't actually own that. You are still under YouTube. Fine. So your videos are under the rules and regulations of YouTube. You could start a YouTube kind of service from your website, but that will require a lot of resources. But you can start a website where people can upload videos. If you don't want a lot of people, if you just want to upload your own videos, you can do it from your website. But the thing is that videos take up a lot of bandwidth. There is a data transfer that takes place from your website when someone visits, and there is a limitation to that also. So generally people take services of YouTube, which is free, maybe advertisement based, but many people prefer to have the video content on YouTube. There are many other websites like YouTube. They are not very famous, but there are many websites who provide these kind of services, fine. And if you are looking for YouTube kind of a part in your website, then probably this could be a separate service which can be taken by some other video sharing service provider and associated with your website. So your website is your whole content where you can put anything. YouTube is specifically for video sharing, and your channel is a specific section in YouTube where you are uploading your channels. So I hope that is clear. So coming to the last few points is, what are your first steps and what actions you can take? So first of all is define your purpose of your website. Fine, define the purpose of your website. You need to be very clear about that, because based on that you can decide what kind of platform to use. Initially you can experiment, no doubt, but if your purpose is very clear, if your purpose is like, I'm going to write articles and just post them, so your purpose is very well clearly defined, that I'm going to post articles, and you can use simply WordPress for that. Fine. If you are planning ki, no, I'll be posting articles and I'll be doing more work, I'll be getting into e-commerce and other things, then you have to think about a particular service in that manner. Probably you can start with Drupal, or you can start with WordPress with the e-commerce support and other kind of aspects. Fine. Choose your domain name or think about the domain name. Fine. So think about a domain name. This is one thing also people don't talk about. Brainstorm with yourself, your family, or just with yourself. Fine. Come up with a list of domain names with the preference that the first one is this, second one is this, third one is this, fourth one is this, fifth one is this, sixth, and so on. Just check out, make a list of 5 to 10 domain names which you would want in accordance of the preference. And very importantly, I have to do not check the availability. Many people go out, check the availability, and what happens is domain capturing takes place. Many a times I have noticed we used to search whether this domain is available or not, and by the time I talk to my client, okay, this is available, and when the client gave an okay or paid for the domain, fine, by that time when we went for the registration, it was gone, someone has registered it. So lot of places where you search the domains, they are not actually providing you a search, they are just saying that, okay, you search for the domain, if it is very interesting, we will register it. Next time when you try to buy it, instead of 500 rupees, we will give it to you for 5,000 rupees or something like that. This happens. So do not check the availability. If you are registering a domain name, generate a list, select the first one, if available, register. Not check the second one, not third one, fourth one, but do not check their availability. Fine. It might take a bit of time in the thought process, but do not check availability. This is a very, very interesting point that happens. So brainstorm. This is going to be if it is a big business or something, only brainstorm with reliable people. People sometimes register the domain. I have given you the example. If I would have done that, I would have made a lot of money. If that would have been a real scenario about Facebook, fine. So this is a very, very important aspect. If you are planning to use that as a brand name in a long term, very important aspect. Then select your hosting provider based on your budgets, goals, and all. So initially you can go in for shared hosting and other aspects, and slowly you can go in for your own servers and security aspects and other. You can think of it, and you can increase on your budget. Of course, as you are going to get more revenue out of it, or returns out of your website, then you have to increase the budget also. Fine. Then get started with a free trial or a affordable hosting plan, I would not recommend free trials. You just go in for some affordable hosting plans, which is 3,000-4,000 rupees per year. It is, in today's term, I would not say that it's a very big amount. As I said, miss out some pizza parties, don't go to few movies in a year in big cinema halls and other things. It is more than enough to have that much of amount for 1 year setup of a website. Fine. You can have free trials, but all free trials will tell you, okay, give the credit card number and all, and because you will forget after 3 years, will deduct the money immediately. So you can decide. I'm not saying it's a rule, but preferably go for a hosting plan. Look at the hosting plan properly, and if you still need some insights, you can contact me on WhatsApp and all. That are there any issues or something like that? I can discuss about that in detail later on. That is there. And last aspect is progress over perfection. Your website will evolve over a period of time. So initially, when you set up your website, it might look blank, bleak, not very interesting. But as the contents are added to your website, as you take steps, you can set up your website very nicely, and you can have some good look and feel to your website over a period of time. You can change the look and feel of the website as per your requirement. So don't immediately think that your website is going to be perfect. So many people want that perfect look immediately. Fine. As I do web development, I come across this thing, but I don't have any content from their side, so it becomes very, very difficult. Fine. So there will be a progress over a period of time. Don't bother about immediate perfection. It will take a bit of time. So those are the points that you can get into these things. And now I have talked a lot about I want a website. If you have any queries or questions, the platform is open. So you can ask any queries or questions, type in, or you can directly come on the mic. Let me just, I'll stop sharing the screen. Yes. So,
good morning, Gaurav sir.
Yeah, good morning.
It's really good, very nice session by you. In a 1 hour, you have covered so nicely.
Thank you, sir.
How to manage the website. I mean, from the crash or from the beginning.
Right.
I really appreciate it. Sir,
Thank
I
you.
was one doubt.
Yeah.
Actually, long back, actually, before 5-7 years back, I have registered one of the website for my campus.
Okay.
Actually, I have developed a website for their hostel, and I hosted it also.
Right.
Then later on,
Right.
I handed over to our management. So,
Right.
I mean, how can I check whether that website still is by my name or?
So you can go to that who is, you can search for who is registry, who is, like I had shown you. So over there, it will give you those that basic information. Now, in handing over, what exactly you mean by handing over? Because initially, when the website is registered on your name, then the person who actually registered in the background, they can only do the domain transfer.
Okay. So what I did at that time, through GoDaddy, I have registered it.
Right.
Or domain name. And 3 years I was handling the control panel.
Okay.
Then
So
they told me, okay, you transfer the domain to us.
Okay. So that you will, as I mentioned, there are two things. One is a domain control panel. So you need to have access to that domain control panel where you will get the exact information. The website control panel where you are managing the content of the website is one aspect, but it is the registry of that domain. Fine. Exactly. That you have to check. In fact, Sudanma, my friend, is here. If you really want some technical help, he will be able to point you out. So I think Sudhanva can point out on this
Surely.
much better.
I want to check that. Like I remember before 5 years, I have registered the domain and I have hosted it on a big GoDaddy.
Right.
But how to check whether it is by my name or I don't know.
So I think Sudhanva can tell us something about that.
So you can use the whois record that will tell you who is the actual owner currently. And then there are some services who can tell you the tracking for the last few years. Whoever is the owner of the website. So if you want to check currently, you can check the whois record and use some services which can give you the previous records also, from where it has moved to whom it is moved. That will give you all the hosting changes also.
Uh, I- yeah, I'm trying to check it. Can I share my screen? Can you please guide me if time permits?
Yes,
Or
yes.
shall we talk later?
I think it's up to you. Sudhanva, is it okay to share? Because this is getting recorded, and I don't know if we should be putting
No,
this
then
directly.
we
I
will
think
talk.
in some private chat should be
That would be much better.
Yes, sure, sure.
We can discuss it later on. I will. Sudhanva can decide on time. We three can decide on some time and have a look at that.
Sure, sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think there was some question from someone else.
Yeah. So I think Saurabh has a question. I have always planned to build a portfolio website for myself, but could not design it myself. Are there any places where I can get the help around? Okay, so Saurabh, portfolio websites, you can simply make it in WordPress. That's the easiest thing you can do. And WordPress provides you these themes. Fine. So you can set up a website with WordPress. That would be the most straightforward thing. Now, exactly what you want to put into your portfolio, that could be one of the things. But when you go for WordPress or Drupal, there is a concept of theme, or content management systems have a theme. Theme means the look and feel of the website, and it is decided on the purpose of the website. So like if I'm using WordPress for e-commerce purpose, right? So there will be a theme for e-commerce purpose, so that the images are shown in that particular manner. So similarly, you will find a theme for portfolio purpose, and you can put up that very easily. Again, as I mentioned, progress versus perfection. So you start with that, and over a period of time, you can get some help, and you can build a portfolio over there. So yeah, so I would suggest go ahead with WordPress and look for a portfolio theme. And if you are looking for a professional thing, so there could be paid professional themes. For that, you might have to shell out some money. If you seriously are looking for a proper presentable one, even though the free themes are not bad, depends on the presentation of your content and all, you can use WordPress. So I will say go ahead with WordPress with a portfolio theme initially, and then you will be the person who can decide on whether you further want to go for a professional theme and other kind of things. Okay.
So just to start off, like you can install WordPress themes and just change whatever the text is mentioned there and photos mentioned there according to your requirements. So that's the very basic thing. If you want to do some designer kind of stuff, you can take help of websites like Canva. So Canva provides lots of various kind of designs which you can utilize maybe for your say a personal resume or your professional portfolio like photographer and those kind of things. So you can use Canva also, and you can use Canva designs in combination with whatever themes available with WordPress or any other Drupal or any other CMS if you are using. So, but it will to start off, to start with some basic design, and if you want to get into some professional things, then it will really take quite some time and a lot of resources for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one more question, which is like, suppose I have created a website. How more and more people will come to know about it, and is it through mouth to mouth publicity or this thing? Well, mouth to mouth publicity is the best thing to do. in terms of digital world, obviously people are sharing your information, and that's what we call as a organic traffic, the real traffic that's going to come to your website, and that's the most important kind of traffic that we can have. But how do you publicize your website? So first thing is, as I mentioned earlier, the content is very important. Are you giving good content? Is your content being updated, and other things? The next thing is that there is something called as a search engine optimization, SEO. SEO, you might have heard of, like we do SEO, these kind of things are there. So this is the important aspect of search engine optimization. If you are using content management systems, WordPress, Drupal and all, the basic concepts of SEO are already implemented, like how you write the text, what is your headline size and other aspects, but that is taken care usually by your CMS. Fine. Then in your content management system, there are extensions or plugins, what we call add-on packages that you can install, which optimizes your search engine optimization. Like in social media, you use hashtags, fine, keywords. So those keywords are to be associated, and there are some background things that has to be associated with your content. So to get your website publicized more, you have to do something called as a search engine optimization. Fine. This either you learn on yourself, or you have to get it through some paid services, because this is another aspect of web development. When you go into professional field, search engine optimization is one more aspect. Another aspect is that you can pay the search engines to show your website as a sponsored link or something when someone is searching for similar kind of content. So that is a paid promotion you can do. And of course, paid promotion is, today we have so much of media, so dependent upon your target audience, like if it's very young generation, and currently like Instagram is quite famous, so you do paid promotion and other kind of things on social media today, like Instagram, or you do promotions on Facebook and other things. You run some concept of campaigns and other aspects. Dependent upon these aspects, you will have to do the promotions. Fine. So there can be paid or unpaid kind of things that can happen. So those are the things. Again, paid services, or you do it on your own, some work is required, but very importantly is your content that is coming on your website, originality and periodic updates and regularity in the website. That is very, very important. Consistency is required over there. Okay. Any other doubts or queries?
Sir, I have one more question. You said
Yes.
about backup of website.
Right.
Uh, is there any option for, I mean, for incremental backup or full backup? I mean, sometimes small changes we are making.
Usually, no. Incremental backup as such is, it could be provided by the service provider, but you will have to set up some tool for the incremental backup. But generally, like we download the whole website section, or if it is your CMS based website, content management, so your content is actually in the database, so you simply take a copy of the database rather than the actual whole files and other things, which can be reproduced very easily, the package. So primarily you can do that, but incremental, usually I have not seen those kind of backups.
Okay. It means if we are using either Drupal or WordPress, so that facility, or
It's not a facility. What the point is that the content goes and gets stored into the database. So simply taking a backup of the database and one or two folders from the server, that is more than enough.
okay.
But in today's scenario, sir, we have so much of bandwidth and all that you can periodically take a backup, and that is much more simpler and easier to manage in real life also.
Okay. All right, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then. Thank you everyone for coming to this session. I hope I could clarify but the aspects relating to web development, website domain, and other things, I tried to make it as simple as possible. So I hope you got a good enough understanding and confidence to go ahead with your website in a DIY mechanism. I would prefer that you try it on your own and get some hands-on experience on that. So thank you very much for giving some time for this session. We'll be having few more other sessions in the upcoming weeks on different topics. If you are associated on the group, you will get the details. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Enjoy your rest of Sunday. Bye bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really nice session.
Thank you.